Brossard, and here's what happened this week. Foxconn founder Terry Guo took the next step to get on the ballot for January's presidential election with a signature drive he started on Wednesday. Independent candidates for president in Taiwan need to prove they have enough support to be in the race. That's measured in signatures from eligible voters. Guo has until November 2nd to get nearly 300,000 signatures. If he reaches that goal, he'll face off against 3 other candidates. KMT presidential candidate Ho Yo-yi wrapped up his week-long trip to the United States. He's the last of the 3 confirmed candidates to visit the U.S. in recent months. John Van Trieste has this report.
San Francisco's Taiwanese community turns out to welcome KMT presidential candidate Ho Yo-yi. California is his last stop in a week-long tour of the United States that's seen him meet officials and dignitaries and appeal to the Taiwanese expat vote. Ho's the last of the 3 registered candidates to make the trip across the Pacific, an established part of Taiwan's presidential campaigns. The idea is to build relationships and leave an impression in the country that's Taiwan's main foreign backer, while also burnishing foreign policy credentials back home. Ho's used earlier stops on this trip to position himself as the man who'll forge closer links between the U.S. and Taiwan, while also bringing ties with China back from the brink. Here in San Francisco, though, his focus is Taiwan's economy. He says he wants to imitate the Biden administration's plans to move U.S. companies' overseas production out of China and into friendlier countries.
像我们的台积电，除了到美国、到日本，也到欧洲去了。慢慢的对大陆的制造的生产的依赖就相对的减少。
He's also drawn attention to his background as a police officer and his law and order credentials. South African Zachary Garski was a child living in Taipei when his family was taken hostage, the last act in a killing and kidnapping spree that shook Taiwan in 1997. Ho got Garski away from his captors, and Garski, now 26, has come up from LA to meet Ho again.
I think he cares about the Taiwanese community extremely, and I think that community is extremely important, and you can see by everything that he's done while he was a police officer how much he really does care about the community, how much he cleaned up the country. And that didn't happen without him. So you can't really ignore that.
Ho's now back in Taiwan, having finished an important part of the presidential candidate's checklist. And with just a few months left until Election Day, it's back on the campaign trail. James Lin and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
The head of the U.S. state of Arizona was in Taipei. During the trip, she said she was confident in the growing Taiwanese investment in her state, but there are lingering concerns over chip-making giant TSMC's mega investment in Arizona. Joyce Tsang attended the governor's private reception on Tuesday to hear her thoughts.
The leader of the U.S. state of Arizona is here in Taipei. Governor Katie Hobbs is in town for a full 3 days to bolster economic ties between her state and Taiwan. Now, she's already met with President Tsai Ing-wen and other officials to promote Arizona's reputation as a good place to invest. Arizona has seen an economic boom, and that's largely thanks to world-famous chip maker TSMC, who's invested billions of dollars to building 2 chip fabs there. Now, the government and several industry leaders have praised the move, but not everyone is happy. Contention around Arizona's skilled labor force has caused some concern.
One of the biggest issues was the highly specialized nature of building these fabs, and that Taiwan needed to bring some workers over. But there are 12,000 builders on the site every single day that are largely Arizonans, and they're working side by side and learning the skills, those advanced skills.
Between cultural differences and whether foreign engineers will take away from American jobs, Governor Hobbs expressed confidence that all stakeholders will be taken care of. She says a key part of her trip is to better understand Taiwan's culture. Her statements were made at a private reception with business leaders to open Arizona's Trade and Investment Office in Taiwan's capital, another sign of her commitment to ensure investors will benefit from their bets on her state. Andy Xue and Joyce Zhen in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan Central Bank has lowered its forecast for the country's GDP growth this year. At the bank's quarterly board meeting, the economic growth forecast was revised to 1.46% from its previous forecast of 1.72% made in June. But the bank says it expects the economy to rebound next year and predicts GDP will grow by over 3% in 2024. Taiwan's cabinet passed a bill that would tie future minimum wage adjustments to certain economic indicators. These include the Consumer Price Index, the Labor Productivity Index, and the minimum cost of living. Employers that pay less than the minimum wage could be fined up to $47,000. The bill would also set up a new review committee for minimum wage adjustments. The proposal has been sent to lawmakers for review. Earlier this month, legislators approved a 4% hike in the minimum wage, which will come into effect next year. Police in the central county of Nantao raided a tea garden suspected of employing undocumented migrant workers. 2 people were seriously injured when they jumped off a cliff to avoid arrest. Bing Wong reports.
Police raided a tea plantation in central Taiwan suspected of hiring undocumented migrant workers. 3 of the workers were captured on film running from the authorities. 2 of the 3 were severely injured after jumping 60 meters off a cliff. The 3rd worker is still on the run.
那目前该3名移工为何逃逸，是否涉及不法，检方将深入调查厘清案情。
According to government statistics, there are some 700,000 migrant workers in Taiwan. 50,000 are estimated to be undocumented. Many have either left previous employers or have overstayed their work visas. Essential to the economy, migrant workers do jobs in family care, the fishing industry, and in factories. They work for lower salaries and often under harsh conditions. Police commonly raid places believed to be hiring undocumented workers, leaving them with a constant fear of deportation. But many take the risk not just to escape poor treatment by previous employers, but also the high fees they must pay to job brokers.
They have no other choice. Or maybe the transfer period is short and there's no jobs. Also, there are multiple reasons to force them they don't have other choice but to run away because they still want to have a job, to have a salary, and to feed their families.
Recent demonstrations in Taipei have called attention to the plight of migrant workers, asking for officials to improve the conditions of their employment. Until that's resolved, activists say Taiwan may face a decline in a vital section of its labor force. Alex Chen and Bing Wong for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan has been preparing its citizens in the event of a catastrophe. Thursday was National Disaster Prevention Day. Sally Jensen went to an expo in Taipei, which showed people some survival skills.
Fighting fires, rescuing casualties, and knowing where to hide in case of an earthquake. People here are getting prepared in case of a disaster. It's all part of National Disaster Prevention Day, which is held every year, and people are eager to brush up on their survival skills.
因为台湾有很多地震啊、台风啊、火灾啊，所以就是希望能够有安全的知识，在遇到紧急状况的之后，可以知道如何应变。
平常可能如果万一遇到的时候，至少我们会知道该怎么预防。
For the country's rescue workers, it's a chance to demonstrate the work they do.
那这边是属于就是我们当初去土耳其的时候的一些在现场做的一些处置和作为。
The event commemorates the 1999 Jiji earthquake, which killed almost 2,500 people. Taiwan sits on a seismic fault, making it vulnerable to tremors. And many of its buildings, which were built decades ago, are in poor structural condition. Now there are efforts to strengthen the youngest generation's resilience in case of the worst.
希望能够让我们的孩子在生活当中随时随地都能够帮助他人。
Children are the target audience for disaster prevention, as heat waves, floods, and other extreme weather caused by the climate crisis are on the rise.
The extreme events that can happen, that can be extremely dangerous. Even now, it's happening in many places in the world, but also in the future, in 20, 30, 40 years, it's going to be much impactful than it is right now.
其实我感觉从了解这个部分，我们更应该去深入到说它对整个社会的冲击， 因为社会冲击让我们更了解到说这个议题我们不能够去忽视它。
Despite the upbeat atmosphere at this event, it's hoped that participants will take these threats seriously.
National Disaster Preparedness Day is an occasion to reflect on the tragedy that struck Taiwan 24 years ago. But looking to the future is an important way to equip Taiwanese people with the resources and the know-how to survive any calamity. John Su and Sally Jensen in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan celebrates its National Day next month, and people are getting ready at venues around the country. TaiwanPlus reporter Jeremy Olivier went to the central city of Taichung to see the test run of its fireworks show.
Here in Taichung in central Taiwan, preparations are already underway for the annual National Day fireworks celebration event that will take place on October 10th. To get ready for that, the city is holding a 5-minute rehearsal of the fireworks display. That may seem like a brief period, but actually they're going to set off around 1,500 fireworks, and there's been a big crowd that's been gathering here, and this is just one spot around the city. People are coming to stake out a place to take photos and to enjoy this brief rehearsal just across the street from the park where it will be happening.
刚刚我在现场就是看的感觉，我觉得整个烟火这个仪式感非常的强烈，而且非常的绚烂哦。那我相信台中市民或者是其他外县市的市民来看呢，应该会有满满的幸福感。
It's been an extremely hot summer in Taiwan. Now, as the season's coming to an end, people are really looking forward to the weather cooling down so they can go out to more outdoor events like this one. Of course, stay tuned to TaiwanPlus for more coverage of National Day celebration events from here and around the country. Eason Chen and Jeremy Olivier in Taichung for TaiwanPlus.
Former NBA star Jeremy Lin is officially returning to Taiwan's P-League. He joined the new Taipei Kings for the upcoming season. That means he'll play alongside his younger brother, Joseph Lin.
可能用说话说不出来这些情绪，因为都是我们已经聊了30年了，能不能有一天有这样子一个机会可以加盟同样的球队？所以我们两个都是感觉有一点不是真的，有一点那个 shock 的 feeling， 所以我们肯定是很开心。
Jeremy Lin says it's a dream come true, and that he always wanted to play with his brother and not against him. Last year, they were on opposing teams in the P-League. Lin says he made the decision after months of thought and prayer. He also thanked his former team, the Kaohsiung Steelers. The 35-year-old player returned to Taiwan on Monday and began training on Tuesday. Taiwan has advanced to the Women's Baseball World Cup's finals. The team finished second in the competition's group stage behind Japan. They clinched their spot after beating France 15-5 on Sunday. Taiwan held a 4-win, 1-loss record at the competition, losing only to first-place Japan. The team will head to Canada in 2024 and compete against 5 other countries for the gold medal. 3 people have been recognized for their work to improve relations between Taiwan and Europe. One is veteran pianist Chen Yu-xiu. She taught classical French music at National Taiwan Normal University, created French language courses, and pushed for cultural exchanges between Taiwan and France. German translator Thilo Diefenbach studies Taiwanese literature and has written articles on the subject for a German literary magazine. The third winner, Charlotte Poirier, is a professor of Eastern philosophy. She created a nonprofit organization that promotes philosophy education for children. Taiwan's Culture Minister Shi Zhe presented the awards in Paris on Monday. Thank you for watching Here's What Happened. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, we leave you with more images of Taichung's National Day fireworks test run. I'm Philip Brossard. Take care and see you next week.